Roman texts and artwork are full of depictions of gladiators, the men who fought each other, and wild animals to entertain large audiences in Roman amphitheaters. The latter is, however, very hard to confirm or disprove, mainly because of the poor archaeological record. Until now. A very recent study provides the first direct physical evidence of a human being attacked by a large wild animal, most likely a lion, during Roman era spectacle events in Britain, so not Rome or the Mediterranean heartlands. It centers on an individual buried in the Driffield Terrace Cemetery in York in the Roman times Eboracum, a site previously thought to be linked to gladiators due to unique burial patterns and signs of trauma. No amphitheater was discovered here, but it is very likely there really was one. The skeleton in question belongs to a young man aged between 26 and 35, showing signs of a violent life and death. He was decapitated with a single blow from behind and buried in a grave alongside two more individuals and amid butchered horse remains. What sets the skeleton apart, however, are some curious indentations on his pelvis. We're talking about deep puncture marks that modern forensic analysis has now identified as lion bite wounds. By using 3D structured light scanning and comparative analysis with modern zoo specimens, researchers match the marks precisely to those inflicted by large felines, specifically lions. The bite pattern, concentrated on the iliac crest of the pelvis, suggests that the man might have been incapacitated in a fight and then dragged by the hip, a behavior consistent with lion predation. These injuries occurred at or near the time of death, ruling out scavenging and pointing instead to a lethal encounter. The larger context of the Driffield Terrace Cemetery itself supports this interpretation. We have more than 80 burials that have been excavated and an unusually high proportion of decapitated males aged 18 to 45, many of whom exhibited healed trauma, which is consistent with repeated violent encounters. The demographic profile, the patterns of injury, as well as the patterns in burial styles suggest that these men were actually combatants, possibly gladiators. Over 70% of the skeletons had been clearly decapitated, often with the skull being placed in a specific position, for example, between the legs. And in a few graves, including the individual in question, horse bones were found, which is not really typical in standard Roman funerary practice. Many burials also lacked typical Roman grave items. They are poor burials, and the demographics doesn't really match civilian cemeteries. If we look at the proportion of young males, despite the fact that the cemetery is where we would expect it to be near a Roman road. Interestingly, isotopic analysis indicates that these individuals came from very diverse parts of the Roman Empire, including warmer southern regions. One individual even showed genetic links to the Middle East, while others to Scandinavia. The cosmopolitan makeup of the buried population reflects the reach and diversity of Roman Britain and the likely presence of a familia gladiatoria, a gladiator troop possibly linked to the nearby legionary garrison. The implications of the find go beyond the grisly fate of one man. The presence of a lion in York implicates a sophisticated logistical network capable of importing exotic animals from Africa. And we do know of Eboracum's close ties to North Africa, particularly during the reign of Emperor Septimius Severus, who was himself from Libya. So this is definitely a possibility. We also have archaeological finds such as North African style ceramics and amphorae, reinforcing this theory of a vibrant trade and supply line connecting York to the wider Roman Empire. This evidence also sheds light on the political and social utility of spectacle in the provinces. Gladiator games, as well as wild hunts, were tools of propaganda, reinforcing imperial power and social order. Whether hosted by governors or some local elites or the emperors themselves, such events served to dazzle and dominate, making Rome's authority felt even at the edge of the world. The trauma on the pelvis of this individual not only confirms historical accounts, but also breathes life into them. It tells a story of human suffering and spectacle, and also of an empire that extended its reach not only through legions and laws, but also through orchestrated violence designed to entertain and control. The singular lion bite in a provincial British grave now offers evidence that the bloody drama of the Roman arena was not only confined to Rome. It reached far out places such as York, where men fought and died beneath the roars of beasts and the cheers of the crowd. So, if you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. It remains a channel mainly dedicated to Viking studies, but every now and then I'll be spicing it up with diverse archaeological and historical news. Hope you enjoy. This was Irina. Thank you so much for watching or listening, and till next time. So, if you enjoyed the story, please subscribe to the channel if you haven't done